Nixon spoke about earlier, which is to know, to like, to trust, and to remember. Okay? So that is a key takeaway from Nixon's message earlier. And what I want to share with you today is the fastest way for you to get people to start knowing you, liking you, and trusting you, and then remembering you when they make a purchase decision. Okay? Does it sound like a good idea? Yes! Okay, great. Right. All good. Ta-da! Okay, great. Right, so 3 secrets I'm going to share with you today. Okay? The first one is how the fastest way you're going to build trust on social media. Because today, as you know, it's full of fake news. How do you actually stand out from the crowd and actually build trust? Okay? Now, the second secret is, there's so much of noise out there, your competitors. How do you stand out from your competitors and actually make them irrelevant? Okay? And the third one is actually how to create a viral video. I've got the latest research and the science about what makes a video go viral. Who wants to hear that? Yay! Okay, let's continue. Okay? Now, before I start, how many marketers are in here? Raise your hands. How many bloggers are in here? How many people from the media are in here? Okay. Let me ask you another question. How many storytellers are in here? Okay, all those who raised your hands just now and not raising your hands now, I've got a question for you. If you're not telling stories, what are you doing? Honestly, storytelling is the fastest way to build trust and get inside the people's hearts and minds. Right? So, and today I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to do that. Sounds good? Right, okay. So, stories are 22 times. Stories are so powerful. It's how we remember things. Okay? And the thing is, facts tell, but stories sell. Okay? And if you're in marketing, if you're in any kind of role where you are using influence and persuasion, that means you need people to take action because of something. If you're doing yourself, that's self-motivation. But anytime you need someone else to do something on your behalf, to take action on your behalf, you need to influence them, you need to persuade them. Storytelling techniques, the technology of storytelling is the fastest way for you to do that, right? And in fact, don't just take my word for it, okay? Seth Godin, amazing marketing guru, okay, says this. And not just him. Famous people around the world. Everyone is talking about storytelling today. Storytelling is one of the most important things that you can do to differentiate yourself from and connect with people with your storytelling. So, as we spoke about, right, not just these business leaders are talking about storytelling. We are also, you've got Richard Branson. Any entrepreneurs in here running your own business? Okay? You absolutely have to be a storyteller first, right? And Steve Jobs, right? All these people are talking about storytelling today. The thing is that we are actually hardwired for stories, right? And I'll explain to you why we are. It's because we have complex relationships with the emotions about the products and services we use. So if you buy a watch, it's not just to tell the time, okay? If you buy a pair of high heels, it's not just because you can look 2 inches taller. It changes you completely. It makes you feel, wearing those shoes makes you feel completely different, okay? So people are buying not your product. So you think that you're actually selling a product? Think again. Because you are selling the magic that product does for you, right? You're selling that emotional relationship and meaning. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Do I have your permission to tell you my story? Yes, thank you. Since we're talking about storytelling, you're going to hear my story, right? Okay. Now, the storytelling that I'm going to tell you today, the story I'm going to tell you today, you will not find on my website. Okay, this is something personal to me, and I'm going to share with you. So I was born in a very remote village in the north of Malaysia. So imagine, something in the far-flung provinces, right? From a really far province. And I grew up basically by the beach. And there was no TV, no internet at the time when I was born, right? It was, I had a lot of books that I could read, but basically I'm a small town guy, right? A small town guy who made it big. I won an award from Time Magazine by the time I was 17, and I was the youngest general manager in Electrolux in my 20s. And in my 30s, I ran an international global branding program for HSBC that actually managed to get HSBC as the #1 global brand, right? Even better than Citibank. And so I rolled this program out to 33,000 employees, serving 80 million customers worldwide. This is amazing, So imagine, right? After doing that, you feel like you are the coolest guy on earth. Okay? You feel amazed, right? You feel like, wow, flying business class everywhere, working out of Canary Wharf in London, in HSBC, and also out of India in Hyderabad. And in India, it was very special because you have your own car, your own driver, and everything is paid for you, right? But little did I know that just 100 days from the time I left that position, I would be broke, jobless, and in a strange new country. That was a 180-degree shift for me, right? How did I end up like that? From just right at the top to down to the bottom. So what happened was that I was had this job waiting for me in Australia, and because I have a Malaysian passport, the guy headhunter told me, look, you need to get a work permit for Australia. Work permit, okay, I can do work permit. So I got an agent to get the work permit for me, and I think the work permit takes about 60 days, the whole process, right? But there was a small error that the agent did. There was something, the paperwork, right? And because of that, my work permit, instead of taking 60 days, took 90 days. Another extra 30 days. No big deal, right? Big deal. Why? Because in that last 30 days, the bank that was hiring me actually started firing all its employees. This is 2008 global financial crisis, and that bank let go 3,000 people, okay, that year. So I was like, wow, okay, so now I'm in Australia already. Before, I had job but no work permit. Now I got work permit but no job, okay? And I was like, okay, no problem, this is actually a better situation because you know what? I can actually just go and get a job. I'm great, right? I'm awesome, I'm wonderful. So that's what happened, and I started my disaster, okay? I went from one bank to another, from all the big names in Australia, the big banks, the small banks, the financial services, the Price Waterhouse, all the big banks, right? They all said, wow, your resume is fantastic. And I hated that but word, okay? You just need to be patient. I got 152 rejections. Okay? Imagine that. Imagine you guys just lost your job and you start going for applications and you were rejected 152 times. How do you feel about that? What does that do to your self-confidence? So that's what I felt, and I was very, very, very depressed, completely depressed in Australia. And you know how expensive it is, so all my savings, all my whatever, money is going out. And I was so depressed that there were 2 times I even contemplated suicide. I was like, this is it. Nobody loves me. Nobody wants me. I'm useless to the world. I'm just going to kill myself, pretty much, right? But so eventually what happened was I said, I'm completely unemployable in Australia for some reason. So I started to do my own business, right? I said, okay, I started what today is content marketing without me realizing, right? I started content marketing. So I started writing content for websites in Australia, and I was doing okay. And one day, there was a friend of my client, and he was this financial services provider, right? And he had two small offices in Queensland, one in the Gold Coast and one in Brisbane. And I bumped into him, and he was like, "Hey, hi, do you do videos?" Now, I don't do videos, right? I don't do videos. I was like, "So do you do videos?" I was like, "Yes, I do videos." "Okay, great. Come to my office this Friday at 3 p.m. Okay, and we'll start recording." I was like, "Oh my God, what have I got myself into?" Right? All I had at the time was just a little tourist handy cam. You know the stuff you take from holiday, right? But I turned up, and I had no idea what this guy wanted to record, right? I had no idea. He just said, "Just come over and just do my recording." So he started, he had a plan to have this thing called Coffee with Troy. His name was Troy Collins. And he wanted to interview all his ex-customers or his current customers to get testimonials from them, right? And as they were telling their testimonials, they started to tell their stories. And I remember this one story which was so amazing. So this guy, he had a daughter, and the daughter was so... how many of you have been to Australia or actually know much about Australia? Okay. Those people are crazy about sports. Okay, Australians love sports like crazy. Okay, his daughter was part of the Olympics team, the Australian Olympics team. So she was like a super duper celebrity. Okay, unfortunately, one night she took a boat from Sydney, a barge, an overnight barge from Sydney, and the whole barge sank. And along with 150 people, she died. Okay, so when this guy heard that his daughter, who was a celebrity star, died, he just completely crushed, right? He couldn't work, he couldn't do anything, and he started telling me the story. He started crying, I started crying, Troy Collins started crying, right? We all had tears in our eyes and whatever, right? Because it's so. Anyway, the story is that because this guy couldn't work, okay, he had taken some what's called disability insurance. That means if something happens to you, the insurance company will actually pay your salary, full salary, okay, and pay all your medical expenses, full, right? So that started to kick in immediately. So he talked about how the insurance company came and said, "Don't worry, we will take care of you. You just take care of your family now. We will take care of you." You know, and he was like feeling so. Even now, when I think about it, it was so amazing. Right? Imagine in your darkest, deepest hour, a hand reaches out and says, "Don't worry, we will fix this problem. You focus on all the other things," right? So that's what happened. And so what I did was I actually collected all those videos and I started posting it on his website. Now this guy is an unknown. I told you he's a small player. Right? He's a small player out of Queensland, which is not Sydney, not Melbourne. Okay, he's out of Brisbane. And what happened was, he was like on page 30 of Google, and within 7 days, he went to page 1 of Google. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is 2009, okay? And I said, this is the power of two things, the power of video and the power of stories, right? So that was my point when I really understood that storytelling is so important to me. So eventually, I came back. So I'm based out of Singapore now. But I came back to Malaysia, to Kuala Lumpur, and I set up a business there. How many people love chocolate here? Okay, good. Okay. Now I met a Belgian chocolatier who makes. How many of you tried Belgian chocolates? Good, right? Okay. This chocolatier makes chocolate for the king of Belgium. Okay, so it must be good, right? So he's like a 4th generation master baker, and he's been making amazing chocolate, world champion chocolatier, right? He's the top 5 chocolatier in Japan and stuff like that. So I met him by chance almost. I tasted his chocolate and I fell in love with it. And I went home that night and I quickly Googled his Singapore, Malaysia. Anybody doing it? Nobody. So then I went to him and I said, I want to be your guy in Malaysia. Give me the franchise. Give me, let me be the distributor. And he was like, you know what? You're the 15th person who has asked me. I rejected the last 14. Okay? Tell me why. So that's when I started my storytelling ninja, right? And I managed to convince him. And he said, okay, I'll work with you. But I don't do distributorship. I don't do franchise. I only do one thing. Joint venture. We do the business 50-50. I was like, wow, that's even better, right? So we set up the company in Malaysia, 50-50 joint ventureship, and eventually also the next year in Singapore, 50-50 joint ventureship. It was really amazing, but the problem is that I had like amazing, with literati and whatever. We had an office in Orchard Road, we had in Takashimaya, we had in Singapore, we had in Pavilion in Kuala Lumpur. If you've been to Kuala Lumpur, these are all top malls. Yeah, it's like SM World Mall. It's like the top malls, right? Everywhere. And we were there, and everyone was living the chocolate, but we were losing money. The more chocolates I was selling, the more money I was losing. So, and eventually, I pulled the plug on that business, but not after losing $250,000 US, right? And I said to myself, there is, how many of you think that you need passion to get into business? You need to be passionate, right? Yeah, passion is very important. So I fell in love with the chocolate, and I went to business because I love eating chocolate, right? But there is the business, and there's the business of running the business, which I had no idea about, right? So I was there hobnobbing with the Queen of Malaysia because she was also a fan of our chocolate. I was meeting all these famous people who was having chocolate. I was interviewed by French TV. So on my LinkedIn profile, I interviewed with French TV and in 200 countries. I was living a great life on the outside to the whole world, so successful, but inside, I was not making any money. I was losing money. And the more successful I seemed to be on the outside, the more I was losing, right? So anyway, so because of that, today I have got today I'm on a mission to touch the lives and help 10,000 entrepreneurs grow their business, right, in 10 years. So one of the reasons why I'm standing here today is because of this. I want to help you to grow your business, especially if you're an entrepreneur, because I know the pain of how it is to be a business person. It's a 24/7 kind of a pain, okay? The anxiety when you can't pay your bills, the sacrifices you have to make. So I know about that. But anyway, so that's pretty much my story. Shall we do it? Yeah? Shall we talk about storytelling now and how you can grow your brand and your business? Let's make it happen. Okay, quick question. What do you think is the most, so this is a workshop, right? So you've got to work with it. So I want to ask you a question. What is the most valuable resource in the world? How many say gold? How many say oil? How many say data? Raise your hands. Okay, fantastic, correct answer. You are right. But there's actually one more resource, even more important than data. Can you guess what it is? Experience. Someone said experience. Anybody else? There's one resource. It's a resource that's even more important than the most important resource in the world. Right? To explain that, let me tell you a story. Okay? This guy had a big problem last year. Okay? Mike Zuckerberg went from darling to devil. Okay? If anybody of you have been following anything in the news, you know about Cambridge Analytica. You know about the congressional hearings that Mike Zuckerberg went through. You know how much of hate people had towards Facebook. Okay? But you know what? At the end of the year, after all that problem, something really funny happened. Quarter 4 results, $17 billion. Okay? everyone hates Facebook, right? But they grew 30% more than the year before. And that's just one quarter. US dollars, yeah? Why? Why is it that despite whatever that we think about Facebook and we hate about Facebook, they are still making so much of money and growing like crazy? Okay? It's because Facebook has got a sweet spot in this new economy. They've got the sweet spot in this new economy. Okay? And Nixon talked about it earlier. Give you a hint, right? It's called the attention economy. Okay? If you guys are not playing by the rules of the new economy, you're going to lose out. Okay? So this is the first thing. You need to know that we are in a new economy, and it's the attention economy, right? The attention is a simple logic. Where your money goes is where your attention flows, right? And Mr. Repeat, where your attention flows is where your money goes. This is very, very, very important, right? So most marketers instinctively know this, but there's problems. The problem is, in the last 30 years, ad spend has gone up, but the number of people actually watching ads, you know yourselves, right? People like you are not watching ads anymore. People like you are not doing this anymore. So, how do we fix this? Okay? So, basically, there are two reasons. Number one is there's too much of information, right? There's information overload. And the other one is people don't trust anymore. I don't even trust what my leaders are saying. I don't trust what my government is saying, let alone what a brand might be saying. Okay? So it's very, very difficult to actually communicate in today's world if you are a business or if you are a brand. But there is an answer, and I'm going to share it with you. But before that, let me just tell you that this is the stats right now. 100 million photos, 500 billion tweets on Twitter, and 5 billion videos on YouTube are watched every single day worldwide. Okay? This is a big problem for marketers, right? But it's also a big opportunity for those who know how to take advantage of it, right? So, and this is more data from HubSpot, right? Who are your competitors? These are your competitors, okay? You're not just competing with your brand, you're competing with these kind of people. Okay, on the right or the left here, anyone can recognize that? Yeah? Okay, so she has got her own Wikipedia page. Okay, now the one, you see the white cat at the bottom there? The white cat with, so that white cat was born with 2 black patches above his eyes. His name is Sam. Okay, let me ask you a question. How many people in this room have got more than 10,000 followers on Instagram? Please raise your hands. Right, fantastic. Sam has got 250,000 followers on Instagram. Sam has 250,000 followers on Instagram. Okay? How do you compete with that? Right? And here on the bottom right here, this one, Little Bow. Almost 2 million subscribers on YouTube. And the one at the top is actually a cat named Dog. And a fashionista. Right? So you're competing with this kind of little cats and ladies and smiling faces. People's attention, your attention is gone on this and not on your brand. So if you are a brand owner, if you are a marketer, if you are a business owner, if you are a blogger, if you are a media person, you need to win back attention from these and actually bring it to yourself. And today, I'm going to show you how. Okay? But before that, the attention span is going down, down, down. Have you heard of that? Like how many of you are actually making videos that are shorter and shorter compared to the year before? Raise your hands. How many of you are actually making shorter videos now making your content shorter, yeah? This seems to be the trend, yeah? This seems to be the trend right now, that content needs to become shorter. You know why? Because people just are ADD. They just don't have the time to watch long videos. They become so uninterested after a while, right? But you know, let me challenge that concept a little bit. Okay? Let me challenge that concept that you have in your head right now about that shorter videos are better. Because they did a study last year in the UK, and they actually talked about binge watching. And the reason I say this is, you know how we watch YouTube videos that are boring, for example, and after 5 seconds we stop watching them, okay? Or we drag the slider, right? How many of you have done that before? Yeah, you drag the slider to the end, right? Because, come on, cut to the chase. Tell me, right? But the same person, you, who drag the slider and who's got no time for a boring video, you spend an hour in the cinema, okay? Maybe sometimes even 2 hours sitting there and watching a movie. You, the same you, right, who's so ADD and so impatient, you can binge watch on Netflix, the teledramas. That same you, okay? So they looked at it and said, hang on a minute, let us try to understand these people and what is it in this binge watching, in this content rich, right? What is it that is making people watch for extraordinarily long times, right? And or playing video games for 4 hours at a go, right? And what is it that's making them do that? So they did a study and they found that, first of all, these people don't do it for everything. They are very, very, very careful because they go only 24 hours. So they are very careful on what they will binge watch on, right? Number two, these same people have found that they can use technology to actually block out ads and use like apps to actually manage their time to allow them to binge watch stuff like this. Okay? And these same people, okay, expect a story, right? They expect a story. If there's no story there, they're not going to binge watch it, right? So this is something for you to think about. And today, I'm going to tell you that if you want people to buy your stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, why are we doing what we're doing? If you are a business or you're a brand, you're an entrepreneur, it's for the money, right? Really, it's for the money. Yes, you can. Everything else is icing on the cake. But if you've got no money to pay the bills, game over, right? So your objective is to say, how can I make my brand so interesting, right? That you actually buy the product. Okay? So the equation is simple. If you want to monetize your business, social media, if you want to monetize your content, you need two things. The first is you need to be able to grab attention. But that's not enough. You need to be able to hold that attention. So most marketers are great at grabbing attention, right? Hey, look here. And then they look at you and then they don't look at you anymore, right? So holding attention today, so your secret, right? The secret sauce in your content today is the ability to hold that attention. And storytelling is the fastest way for you to do that. Let me share with you, these are the top videos, the viral videos, right, of all time. Okay? You will see they are like, how many of you recognize this? I'm sure some of you do, yeah? You've seen some of these viral videos. This is the top viral videos of all time, okay? And they are, of course, like songs, funny dances, babies, right? Animals, right? Everything. But I'm going to share with you number 8 on the list. Okay? Number 8, the top video of all time. Okay? And it is this lady, Susan Boyle. How many of you have seen this video? Okay. I don't have the ability to play the video now, but I'm going to tell you what happened, okay? So basically, it's a reality show, Britain's Got Talent, And they have all these actors coming up, right, and performing, and then you've got Simon Cowell and all these judges that judging them, all in real time for the audience to see. Okay, so with the three judges there, they're all sitting on, they're sitting on the stage waiting. The whole audience is waiting, right? And then this lady turns up. Okay, she looks like, and she talks like somebody from like the provinces, right? Like far away, and really she is. She's from the north of Scotland, and she's from a little village in Scotland, right? And like the moment she walks in, like people almost like a bit like laughing at her, right? Like what is she gonna do now, And she's got like bad haircut, she looks like a tramp, okay? She looks like a tramp coming out, and she's got this personality which is like, they're like, oh, who's this? So you see like on the judges' faces, right? Like all these smirks and on the audience as well. And the camera captures all of this, right? And then she says, okay, so I'm going to perform. And then she said, I'm going to perform this number. I forget now which number, right? And it's a really difficult song, okay? And people are like, come on, are you really going to do that? And then she starts singing, okay? And it's so amazing that her, so basically, this video became very, very viral very quickly. And there's a reason for that. So this is the video, right? There's a reason for that. Okay? And the reason is because her story was a story of personal triumph. Okay? She's from nowhere, she went somewhere. Okay? Her story, and it was a story of unexpectedness. Right? And if you look at all the videos today, right, this is a study done in Australia, if you look at all the videos that you see, the viral videos that you see today, right, less than 3% of them are of human triumph, okay, human stories. The rest are like cats and whatever, babies and whatever, and funny stuff. But the 3% is actually the most powerful of all of the cats put together. Okay? So you, as a brand, you can do this. You can brand yourself, right? You can brand your business. You can brand your clients if you're an agency, right? So here's another study which is very interesting. This is done by the BBC, and so the BBC is this big broadcasting company, but they've also got something called the BBC Storyworks, which is the content arm of the BBC. So this is a commercial production agency that actually makes content, right? And they basically looked at all the high-performing videos, right? They did a study of all the best videos that they were producing. And this included, brands that you see on the screen here, big names, right? So it was a very big study, over 3 continents, over 6 years, and almost 10,000 people, involved, right? And they did all the research, the normal, typical study you get, focus groups, interviews, research, but they did something very different about this one. They introduced something called facial coding, whereby you use the latest AI technology to actually watch the watcher while that person is watching the movie. And any kind of response, right? And it'll give you a score, okay? And this is what they found, right? They found, for this one, for example, which talks about long-distance relationships, which is pain, right? The pain of long-distance relationships. For those of you who've been in a long-distance relationship, you know what I'm talking about. It's not easy, okay? So for those kinds of relationships, kind of thing, which is serious emotion, heavy emotions, okay? That can actually really get your brand going. Okay, when you talk about heavy stuff. They also talked about the lighter emotions. Okay, we're talking about happiness, surprise, unexpectedness. Okay, that can also increase your brand. Okay, so if you are doing social media and you're creating content, and this is not just videos, yeah, but they did infographics, long form articles, short form articles, ads, as well as videos, right? They did a very comprehensive study using AI technology. And this one, subconscious positivity, right? This one did great for Huawei. where there was this guy who was an artist, right? He was an artist, and suddenly he lost his vision. He became blind, and he was so determined. So he talks about how he became blind, and he says that it's suddenly you're like in the bottom of a well, right? It's completely dark, and you know people are up there, and they can see the light, they can do everything, but you are at the bottom of the well. It's dark, and you're just stuck there, right? So he was determined to get out of that well. So what he did was he started painting blind, and he started painting blind and producing the same work like people with eyes, right? People who could see. And how he did that was he started to feel the different colors with his hands, right? And the different texture. So different, like green would be a different texture. Blue would be a different texture. And then once he recognized that it's blue, he would start painting with that, right? And he could recognize that. And he became an amazing, so people became very puzzled, right? So when you trigger puzzlement along with the fear, because they feel, oh my God, what if I lose my sight, right? And you feel sad about that, right? You feel sorry about it. So this is another one that where you can use to actually work with stories. So this is the BBC video. So basically what he says was, if you're working with a brand, so when they work with a particular brand, they try to find a story within that brand. So if you're going to create content on social media, if you're going to create any kind of content, you need to create stories. Okay? So let me ask you a question now. What's the number one reason why people don't buy from you? Why people choose you? Whether you're or why people don't choose you? What do you think?
Trust.
Sorry, trust. Okay. Any other reason?
Cost.
Cost. Okay. Yeah. You know, actually you're all right. Yeah, you're all right. You know, maybe your price is too high. Okay, you're selling something. Maybe you don't have the right color, or maybe your service is no good. You know, service is no good, right? It's all maybe true, but the real reason is because your story, okay, doesn't fit into their story. What do I mean by that? So basically, all of us, we basically tell three types of stories, right? The first one is the identity stories, which is these are the stories you tell yourself, right? So when you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, okay? That is you, okay? Crusty eye, you don't look your best, okay? And you tell yourself, I hate myself, or I love myself, I'm not good enough, or I am good enough. Whatever you tell yourself, that is your story. Okay? So people like Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins, all these great, amazing motivational speakers, okay, they make a fortune by helping people change the stories that they tell themselves. Okay? And you can actually transform your life. You know, change your story, you can change your life. So that's the first one on the left here, the red one. Okay? The yellow one over there are the image stories. Okay? The stories that we tell other people. So this is you trying to take the best version of yourself and trying to tell the whole world about it. Okay? Now these stories are the stories that we tell others. And then finally, there are stories that others tell about us. Behind our back. You know, when you leave the room, people start talking about you. What do they say? Okay? So these three circles kind of like all mesh together and make up your story. Okay? This is your story. Now, your story has got fears, hopes, dreams. You know, you have amazing, you have not amazing, you have all these different things. Okay? So your story has got that. And you need to know that people are not consuming products, right? They're consuming meaning. So if you look, for example, at HS, has anyone seen this? 10 years ago, you traveled to any airport in the world, HSBC was running these ads. Okay? And basically, can anyone tell me what is the HSBC tagline? Anybody knows?
The world's local bank.
Yes, it is the world's local bank. Now, how do you do that, right? HSBC is in so many different countries. It's a bank, right? how can they claim to be a local bank when they're actually not from that country, right? So this is how they try to put their story across. Okay? They try to say, look here, if you have a pet, that pet can be your friend, but that pet can also be a conversation starter when you go out and wear it like part of your clothes. Or that's somebody who wakes you up in the morning, right? That same pet can mean different things to different people. So just like that, we as a bank, we know that we can mean different things to you. So here's another example about getting married, right? Some people feel that, wow, it's fate. We were meant to be together, right? Some people are like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to live with this person for the rest of my life. I'm really worried how we're going to meet, but yet we're going to get married. It's nervousness. Or some people say, wow, this is like a match made in heaven. Perfect for me, right? So different people view marriage, even marriage as different, the wedding day as different things, right? Mass, right? Some people may view it as something very holy and very sacred, whereas some of it may see as something they want to hang on their walls, or as a gift to somebody when they go to somewhere exotic. Another one here. Some people see chocolate as energy, right? Yes, after my workout, I'll just do my workout and just take a bit of chocolate. Some people say like, ooh, indulgence. I'm gonna love chocolate. And some people are like, if I have chocolate, it's just before I have sex. Or some people take chocolate because they can't have sex, or they don't have sex. It's a substitute for sex, right? So different people view chocolate differently, right? So the important thing I'm trying to say here is that people associate different meanings, right? And if you want to be successful as a brand, social media, to connect with your audience, to connect with your followers, to be able to create real engagement online, okay? Your story, okay, has to be a part of their story, okay? So I talked about you have your own story, right? Like a brand should be part of that story. So here is where I actually talk about the personas. Anybody know about archetypes? Is anyone familiar with the archetypes? Okay, fantastic, right? So just like you have got different nationalities on the planet, right? You are Filipino, you got American, Singaporean, and whatever. And you've got different races, right? You've got the black people, and you've got the white people, right? And everything else in between. They are very distinct races, right? Just like that, right? The whole world of stories are actually divided into only about 12 stories. Okay? There are 12 what we call the collective unconscious stories. And just like you say, I'm Filipino, right? I am this race, right? I'm this language. Just like that, you are subconsciously aligning yourself to a particular story. You don't realize it, okay? You don't realize it, but I can tell you what you are by looking at the brands that you use, okay? If you're using Samsung, I can tell what you are. If you're using iPhone, I can tell what you are, okay? If you're driving a Lexus, I can tell what you are. If you're driving BMW, I can also tell what story you belong to, right? Just like if I speak Tagalog, you can kind of guess that maybe I'm Filipino, right? Just like that. So, what are these stories? And I want to tell you that most, especially startups, small players, have no idea about this. Okay? They are just simply creating content just because it's cool, just because it's funny, or just because they saw their competitor do it and they thought, I should do it too, right? Only the brands that understand their persona, understand the core strategy about how storytelling works, okay, they look at their brands. They did this study over 6 years, and they found that the brands that are very close to that. That means if I make content for the Philippines, I make sure it's in Tagalog. I don't do it in Spanish or in Japanese, right? I'm very, even though the Filipinos, they all speak English and they can appreciate English, I will put my content in Tagalog because I know that this will resonate with them, for example, right? So those people were very defined. They found that their content rose by 97%, more than brands who just consistently put out great content, right? This is archetype-focused content. So my question to you is, how focused are you on the personal archetype stories of your brand? First of all, what are they, right? So let me give you an example of some good case study of this in action. There was a viral video that got 99 million views, so that's almost 100 million views on YouTube, okay? 337,000 engagements, okay, on that particular video, and actually improved the sales of that brand by 107%. Okay? Actual real sales results because of that video. Okay? And you know what? It's not for the latest car. It's not for an amazing new model of iPhone. It's just for a product that you find in the supermarket. You can go up to the supermarket. It's an everyday hygiene item. How can you create such amazing buzz, okay, for something so boring as deodorant? Okay, it was for a deodorant. Okay, so I'm going to. Unfortunately, I can't play the videos, so I'm just going to show you this. But after my presentation, there's going to be my email address at the end of my presentation, and you can email me directly, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll send you all the links of the videos, and I'll also send you some other stuff as well. So this is one of the archetypes called the jester. So the jester is about people who want to have fun. Okay, they feel life is too short to be boring. I want to have fun in my life. Okay, there are people in this audience who are really, really about that. Okay, they feel life is too short. Let's just have fun. Let's just have fun while we're doing it. I want to have fun. So it's a very playful, very joking thing. And all of us can relate to that. So the jester is actually Old Spice. Old Spice is very aligned, very highly aligned to the jester archetype. So, I talked about my story, your story, our story, right? So how did the jester, how did Old Spice get into people's stories? So the first thing is, this is my story. To me, that people say, we have this archetype, they say, I need to start living my life. Okay? I'm too tired of just, being boring. I want to be interesting. Now, Old Spice is about, come on, let your hair down. Be cool, be hip, be funny. Don't be so uptight, right? So the campaign messaging, which is the story that now both of them own, okay, is this: Old Spice gives my sweat a beating, right? So I don't know any other deodorant than Old Spice to actually really give my sweat a beating. And I feel cool about that, right? I feel happy with that. Old Spice is part of my story. And that's why I buy Old Spice. Okay? That's one example. Here's another one. This is another archetype called the outlaw. Okay? The outlaw is about, and it's completely different from the jester. Okay? It's about, I want to break the rules. Okay? Rules are made to be broken. I don't want to be part of the status quo. Okay? I don't want to queue up with everybody else. I want to go to the front of the line. Okay? I'm different, and I want to show people that I'm different. Okay? So for this one, Harley Davidson. Okay? Famous one. So basically, I'm here to break status quo. That's my story. And the brand says, screw it, let's ride, Let's just be different, right? And so basically, they have a joint story. Okay? The joint story is what now I own. Harley Davidson gave me a piece of my own story to own. So it's become my story. I've embraced that brand. So when I got this story, and it's a part of my story, I don't mind putting a tattoo of Harley Davidson on my arm. I have no problem because it belongs to me. The logo of Harley Davidson is as much a part of Harley Davidson as it is a part of me. Okay? So this is where you make your competitors irrelevant. Competitors want the competitor can touch you. I would never put a Yamaha logo on my arm. Okay? Even though Yamaha can probably go faster than a Harley any day. Right? And it's got a much more powerful engine than a Harley. Right? I would never do that. But Harley Davidson fans do it because Harley Davidson is part of their story. So the secret here is how do you understand the archetype of your target customer, okay? Target customer, and then become part of their story through the power of storytelling. Okay, here's another example. The innocent. Okay, this is another archetype called the innocent. By the way, if you guys want a complete list of archetypes, please either email me or send me add me up on LinkedIn. I accept all applications to be part of my LinkedIn network. So just add me up on LinkedIn, and I will share with you the complete 12 archetypes so that you can actually start getting to understand your brand. Okay. So here the innocent is about the time when you were in kindergarten or when you were very young, you were so innocent, right? You have still a part of you that's very innocent. Okay? And innocence, is about being simple, being elegant, and being true. Yeah, when little kids, you ask them something, they just tell you the truth, right? They don't know how to lie to you and scheme and plan. So this is about being innocent, right? So basically, that case study, right, is basically whenever you look at your target market, you need to understand what is their story. Okay, what is their story? So Dove did their research, and they found out that the story that really their people are, right, is that they're sick and tired. The women are sick and tired of looking like these beautiful models which are photoshopped on the magazine covers and everywhere, right? They are so sick and tired of trying to look perfect and trying to look slim and thin and perfect all the time. It's so much pressure for them, because they've got all these visual, people have so much expectations about them, how they need to look. So they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And so Dove says, you know what? Screw it, you are actually more beautiful than you think. You really are. And it's all beauty from within. Okay? Your beauty comes from within. It's not just how you look. It's how you make people feel about you. Right? That's beautiful. And that's why they have this whole campaign around that. And together, right, I can embrace my true beauty through that. So this is again storytelling. It's how you tell a story, but you're telling a story for the customer's story. Okay? You are trying to script a story for your customer in their heads. Okay? This is very powerful. It's subconsciously scripting stories. So when people ask me, are you a storyteller? I'm like, actually I'm not. I'm lousy at telling stories. You can ask any author, they're much better. Or the other people are good at telling stories. But what I do is I help brands to storify their content. Not tell a story. It's to make it story friendly. Subconscious, right? So there are also other stuff. These are the 7 basic plots. So just like I told you, there are like 12 archetypes in the world, right? There's this guy, he did the study for 30 years, and he found that there are only 7 stories. So from Lord of the Rings to comedy to the latest movie that's playing on the cinema now, all of them can be boiled down to just 7. Okay? They're just 7 basic plots. Just like numbers. All the numbers in the world, up to millions and millions, they come from just 0 to 10 to 9. Yeah? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With that, you can make anything. You can make any number. So there are 7 stories. With these 7 stories, you can tell any story to anyone and get them engaged. If you guys want this, again, like I told you, just email me or connect with me. My email address is there. Now's the time to take a photo of it. It's me, connect with me at indra.com. Right? So that's pretty much the end of my presentation. Thank you.
I should really stop taking notes. Please come join me on stage again, and we'll take some questions with Indra. Please raise your hand so that our friends can run to you. Over there.
I've got a question.
Wait a second. First guy.
Hi, thanks, great presentation. My question is, so I'm here. Just in case you want to see me. I'm here.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so great presentation, love it.
Thank you.
Other than making sure your video content is great, epic story and everything, how else, or do you know any tips on how we can make this work on Facebook, for example, that has algorithms? Or does a company need to invest a certain amount, other than, you have a video, you want to promote it, how much usually does a company need to spend to make sure it's seen by a lot of people nowadays?
Okay, so I'm going to break that question into two parts. The first part is, we talked about how can we look at Facebook, for example, and the algorithms. Okay. So what I want to say here is that storytelling has changed over time. In the old days, there was just one player in the storytelling game, and that was the brand. And the brand was a one-way. It was a one-way storytelling thing. At the time of our parents, for example, right? You just got the message, and then the internet came, and it became a two-way conversation. So people started coming and saying, that this brand sucks, and they put it on TripAdvisor, right? So it became a two-way conversation. Today, there are actually three players in this game. Okay, there's the brand, there's you, the customer, and the third one, which is the platform. Okay, each platform, like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, they've got what is called algorithms, and these algorithms, they set their own rules. And if you don't know how to play by the algorithm's rules, you will not be able to connect with your customers well, right? So that's the first answer. You need to recognize that there are three players in there, and each of these three players need to be respected, and you need to understand them as much as you can. Number one. Number two, your second question was, how do we actually, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But basically, how do we actually use this? Sorry, can you repeat the question again? Just so I can get. Should I get it?
Yeah, sure. So the other question was, with respect to the algorithms of Facebook. So normally, if a brand wants to really, share that message to make a lot of people see it, on average, how much should they spend to have, say, 100,000 people view it?
Okay. So the answer is it depends, obviously, right? It depends on how competitive the keywords you're using, for example. It depends on which markets you're playing in. It depends on a variety of things. But this is my advice to you. If you're a big brand with unlimited budget, go right ahead and advertise, right? But if you're a small brand and you're really conscious about the money you're going to spend on Facebook, this is my advice to you. Go organic first for any kind of content, and see your best performing content, right? If that's getting a lot of engagements, then you boost it. Okay? Don't just boost anything, right? You see where you're getting traction, and then you amplify your good results with ads. A lot of companies today, they think, and Facebook makes it so easy to give them money. So it's like, let me just boost that post, let me just boost this post, right? This is the lazy people spend the most money, right? Do a bit of hard work. Try to understand what motivates your people. That they spent the previous speaker earlier. talked about many, many golden nuggets that you can use to actually understand what works for your audience. Then put money and start advertising on that. So does that answer your question? Okay, great. Any other questions?
Over there. Oh, Ivan, let's go there. Ivan's a very curious guy.
That's good. Curious. Tell us good.
I was supposed to actually ask this yesterday in day one about the social media trends, but since you already talked about the videos, ayun. So the question is because we were talking with another sports writer, I think 2 weeks ago, TV coverage, saying that the social media is now evolving because since videos, you think stories is better than just written post or mere audio recordings. My question is, do you think videos, YouTube videos will overtake written posts like blogs, online news articles in the future? I mean, the YouTube videos or even Facebook videos will be the new norm of social media trends.
I definitely think video is a much better way than, say, a written article, but there's a reason for that. If you look at video, video has got sound, and video has got, so when we take information in, okay, we take information in through our eyes for the most part. So when you are listening to an audiobook, for example, you will always not have a visual element in there. But some people, different people have got different. So to answer your question, different people have got different ways of their favorite ways of getting information. So, like for example, most people they're either auditory, they're visual, or they're kinesthetic, right? So the visual people, they once they see something, they will get it, right? But some people, they need to like hear it, then they will learn. Or some people need to feel it and experience it, right? They need to kinesthetic, they need to feel it. So video ticks most of their boxes because it's got audio, it's got moving images, and it also has got text. That's why video is doing so well today, right? But with the advent of AI, there's going to be 3D projections that will overtake video. So in the future, there's going to be like holograms, right, of actual human, like a human hologram, for example, that you can actually interact with. Then the video will be out, right? So it's not so much about what is the flavor at the moment, but it's more about how are we as an audience interacting with that particular medium.
Do you have a next question? Mr. Shankar wants to ask a question.
So, in front you gave a lot of very good examples of big companies like HSBC of the world. Can you give me an example of a startup or one-person startup or very small?
Okay. So the reason why I put big names out there is because I want to impress you, right? If I put a small name out there, you'll be like, come on, so like this is nothing. But let me tell you now, since you've asked this question, my personal experience with small companies too. Okay. Now, has anyone heard of this brand called Gems Education? Okay. So Gems Education is the world's largest private school provider in the world. Yeah, their turnover is $5 billion US, right? A very big company, and they do schools, basically private schools, right? Where they charge an arm and a leg for the school. So what they did was they were very successful. They're very successful in the US, in the Middle East, and whatever, right? But they came to Malaysia, and they opened a school in a place called Penang, right? And in Penang is an island. But they made the mistake of opening the school not on the island, but on the mainland part of Penang, which is the most, like we say, it's like a dumb thing to do, right? They made a mistake. They chose the location of the school in the wrong. So when I went there, I was asked by the CEO, who was a French guy, who knew me, and he asked me to help them to do their marketing. So it's really, they were unknown in Malaysia. So to answer your question, it's like much like a startup. Okay. So and the worst thing is, when they did the planning, right, they built the school, it was next to a chicken farm. So, because it's a very rural place, right? And so the chicken farm was supposed to have gone, but it was still there, right, as the school was being built. So you've got, I don't know how many of you have lived next to a chicken farm, but I was for a while, I was next to a
It's
chicken
very noisy and very smelly.
Yeah, and there are flies, okay? So there were like, for the 2 months, when the chickens take 55 days to the cycle, right? So in 55 days, it's full of flies everywhere, and the flies are coming into the school, right? Into the whatever, and then they clean the coops. So another 30 days, no flies, okay? So here you are, like there's me there trying to help the team, right? So you've got this, the director of parent engagement from the US. You've got the teachers from the UK, right? There's all these people in Malaysia, and they're like swatting flies as they talk to the prospective parents. It's a horrible way to start the school, okay? So they managed to only get 30 students, okay? So on average, they were doing like, 30 students, okay? I helped them to grow their business 10 times in 24 months. So from 30 students to 300 students. Okay, from 600,000 ringgit to 6 million ringgit. How did I do that? Storytelling. What we did was we helped to turn the parents into our army of salespeople, right? So that means rather than us saying messages, we in fact make the parents take a part of the Jets brand as part of their story of their children's education. And they started to recruit parents for us, more parents. Okay? And we grew the brand, as I said, not just the brand, but actual sales numbers, right? We actually 10x the sales in less than 24 months. So this is an example of a small, like a startup kind of a brand. But there are many other examples. But yes, to answer your question, what's applicable in the big brands is actually even more successful in the small brands because your competitors are not doing it right now. Like the big brands, they know all these things. They have a strategy. Competitors like your smaller, your click or one-man startup, you don't do that. So you have an opportunity to actually really, shine if you start taking this storytelling seriously.
All right, thank you so much for your answer. Do we have one more question? This is the last question. Tawag lang yun. Ayan. Can you have the mic over here on this side?
Hello, good afternoon. My question is it possible to change a brand story because its target market changed, which causes it to completely oppose its first story? So basically
very
something
hard.
like positioning.
Yeah, it's very hard to completely oppose. Yeah, that's the short answer. What you can do is what they call is you can create a new brand and a new story. But once you have a story, you have a reputation, and you try to change the reputation, you seem to be false. And you see many politicians do that, right? When they switch camps, whatever, people don't respect them very much. So just like that, it's like people too, right? And brands. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing everything. And I hope that at the end of the day, everybody here will be able to shape their own brand story.
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you everyone. Take care.